And we start off with housing news. The tenant advocates from Community Action for Safe Apartments joined new settlement and state lawmakers outside Bronx Housing Court calling for the governor to extend the moratorium when it comes to housing. Our Bronx Net reporter, Arlene Makoko, was there, and she brings us the details right now.
Tenant advocates from Community Action for Safe Apartments joined new settlement and state lawmakers outside Bronx Housing Court, calling on Governor Hochul to protect the rights of renters as the moratorium on eviction set for January 15th draws near.
Me and my colleagues in government, especially my colleagues from the Bronx, are fighting for every penny to make sure that people in this county are not evicted, especially during this crisis.
Assemblymember Kenny Burgos from the 85th District says it's renters and owners alike that need support for funding created to assist those impacted by COVID-19, called Emergency Rental Assistance Program, or ERAP.
We're going to fight to extend the eviction moratorium, and we are going to fight to put more money in ERAP and keep all of you and all of our Bronxites and all of our New Yorkers in their houses with their families, especially during the holidays.
With 250,000 statewide that stand to be impacted, Randy Dillard, a leader with Community Action for Safe Apartments, says 40% of them are from the Bronx.
This is a problem throughout the country. It's not just a New York problem. You don't hear about tenants in France, Germany, Russia during the pandemic. Why are we hearing about tenants over here getting ready to face eviction in the United States, and we're supposed to be the greatest country in the world?
I lost my job during the pandemic. I worked at a restaurant. I helped to prep the food.
Among the tenants rallying, Anna Galvez from Mott Haven, who is hoping for some relief as she waits for the economy to reopen.
I was actually one of the first workers to be let go. And now the restaurant itself is closed now.
Also supporting Casa, Rigo Noel, executive director of New Settlement.
The Bronx still has the highest unemployment rate in the 5 boroughs. And so now is not the time to throw people out on the street during the winter.
On the Grand Concourse, Arlene Makoko for BronxNet.
And thank you, Arlene. You've been pretty busy because you also were working on another story that deals with Metro North commuter trains. If you're transferring from a Metro North commuter train in the Bronx to a New York City bus or subway, well, that could also be free. Arlene gives us more on this right now.
Transferring from the Metro North commuter train in the Bronx to a New York City subway or bus in the borough could soon be free if the Permanent Citizens Advisory Committee gets its way.
What this will do, it would allow them to have this freedom ticket so that, at least for now, off-peak hours, they can have that reduced fare and they could transfer from the train to the bus. And so this reduced fare is fair, and we want the MTA to not only do this, but also to expand it.
Joining them was Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr., Bronx Borough President-elect Vanessa Gibson, and other leaders there to promote what they are calling Freedom Ticket, a proposal for Bronx strap hangers that mimics a similar program in Southeast Queens called the Atlantic Ticket, allowing Queens residents to take the LIRR to experience faster service.
As a member of the New York City Council, I stood with my colleagues in Southeast Queens who were advocating for transportation access by way of the LIRR and the Metro North. And so it's no secret that as we talk about supporting access in one part of the city, we should also do the same for the borough of the Bronx.
So, for example, any commuters getting off a Metro North train will not have to pay an extra fare if they have to take a bus or a subway to their destination.
It's about equity. It's about making sure that everybody throughout this city has the same opportunity to ride at the same fare.
There's no reason why people who live in Connecticut or in other states outside of New York have a faster commute and a proportionally more accessible commute to New York City than people who live right here within the city, right here in the Bronx.
With the recent allocation of funding through the federal infrastructure bill signed into law by President Joe Biden, bringing $500 million to the PIN Access program that includes the construction of 4 station stops in the East Bronx, approving Freedom Tickets makes sense.
Anything less, in my opinion, during this Christmas season would be the equivalent of putting lumps of coals in the stocking of the people of the Bronx. And we will never, ever accept that.
So Freedom Tickets is not up for a vote or discussion at this month's MTA board hearing. However, transit advocates here are confident that given the success in Queens, that it will soon come to the Bronx. For BronxNet, this is Arlene Makoko.
And thank you, Arlene. That is all the time we have for our Bronx updates. And we want to let you know, we want you to stay connected to us. We are opening up the rest of the show coming up after this break.